Attention, all of my elevated content seekers. We Believe Digital is designed to inspire. Whether it's music, news, entertainment, We Believe Digital has the content that you don't want to miss. We're bringing you the best in news, entertainment, sports, inspiration, and so much more. Not only are we designed to inspire, but you can advertise with us and reach your target audience now. Got something that you believe in? Well, we believe in you, and we're offering you the opportunity to become a podcaster at We Believe Digital Studios. To become a want to know more? You can contact us at www.webelievedigital.com. And while you're at it, be sure to follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Roku at We Believe Digital.
Welcome to Make It Make Sense Jackson. I am your host, Keandon Perry, aka KP, aka the Young Man, aka Mr. Jackson. And we are back on this fine Thursday, along with my co-host,
Tariq Abdul Tawab.
This hot Thursday, actually.
And I was looking, I forgot my AK. I had a new AKA. I was about to give my AK, Tariq Abdul Tawab AKA, but I forgot my AK. So, anytime I do an AKA, it's just generally talking about something that's happened. That's all. But yeah, it was rainy before the hot came.
Yeah,
so somewhere something's growing.
A lot of flooding going on in Jackson, man.
Yeah.
It's hot and it's flooding, ain't that something?
Yeah,
I know what's the money called? When emergency funds for this crap.
No, not for us at least.
Not for us. Not for the folks, not for the main Jacksonians. I got you on.
Yeah, but no. Welcome back. While my young man helps me get technologically right, as you know, I may be able to speak these words smoothly along with him. But when it comes to technology, sometimes that 20-year plus gap different, it helps to have a young man with you, right?
You want to use though?
Yeah. Perfect. But yeah, this is day what? We always tell them what day of the week we're in. What's today? Thursday. So we're in day 4.
Day 4 of 5 week. 5 day a week.
5 day a week. That's right. And it's been a very busy week. I mean, if you're new with us, this is a job outside of the job, as it should be, and everybody's working a job outside of a job. When you're in a community where you don't have the basic necessities that community should have, and not to mention the other things that we're dealing with, we're all working double time. The only question is, at what point do we work smarter, not harder, and start working together so that all of these deficiencies we each experience in our individual lives, we start pooling our efforts together to make sure that those deficiencies are erased for all of us, or at least lessened. Sometimes 10 of us together, maybe we don't have enough money to buy steak and potatoes, but one of us alone doesn't even have enough money to buy a steak or potatoes, excuse me. Now 10 of us alone can buy a bag of potatoes and we're eating mashed potatoes. So, there's always a plus to working together, and there's always a silver lining. And I know we're the masters of what's that phone? I know we're the masters of laying out what went wrong in the city and in other places, right? In the hopes of being able to work towards a better future. But understand that once you understand what's wrong, you're all right.
Yeah, if you don't understand what half of these people talking about, like how John Horn made his speech, was it 2 days ago?
I have to break that down. Yes, when he went in front of the airport, and all of a sudden it was free to land John Horn. It's amazing.
A lot of people, like we said before, a lot of people think that's just that Malcolm X. Oh yeah, he for the people. Nah, bro. That's the play on. That's the play on words. Y'all gotta understand what John. You gotta understand what he's done for the people, so you understand what he's saying.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's when John Horn and when you have Jackson Rising, we're going to talk about them as well as this week unfolds, because you got to understand where your money's going. That's something I think through the last 8 to 12 years is something that this city made very clear. We're going to find this money, right?
Yeah.
But I know that Jackson Rising was going to participate in Chief Brackney's salary, and then at the time they weren't registered as a nonprofit. We're looking deeper into that now. So any thoughts you have on that, feel free to jump on there. You can call in on our platform if you are new to our Thursdays and Fridays and you've been with us just Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays on 90.1. We Believe Digital Network is a very high-tech digital network, so you have the option of jumping in and chatting right on your side, and we can see it right in front of us here, just like TNT or any other platform would be able to see. If you want to call in, you can also dial in. That's a double option platform here, unlike the radio, which has its great benefits. But here you have the option of either calling in like you would on the radio, or right in front of us, there's a screen, and we don't have to bend down. We don't have to look. We don't have to check. We can see everything that's happening right there in front of us. So definitely jump in, and we want to hear what you have to say as well, because it's been a crazy week, hasn't it been, young man?
Yeah, very, very crazy.
But maybe we want to recap with them. Just, it doesn't have to be in order. Just what this week has been like. What's it look like?
What should we start out with first?
I mean, the beginning of the week, Monday, we had it. Well, let's again, every time we talk to them, and let me start, and I promised that we would do this, KP, so let me stay true. Like the axis of evil. We have, the axis of evil, where we have 5 places that unfortunately we're being pursued as a city. We're being hurted, and people are trying to hurt us more. So that axis of evil, unfortunately, started in most cases from the state power structure, the state of Mississippi. So you'll see folks like Trey Lamar, Shonda Yates. Those are people from the political side that are moving an agenda through that tries to drain Jackson of its I wouldn't say ownership, but I would say autonomy, right? That tries to drain Jackson of its autonomy. This isn't a bill that Yates nor Lamar, these bills they put forth aren't bills to try to stop crime for certain areas or try to heighten the life quality of people. They're bills that try to take away Jackson's power to control its own day-to-day resources. And so that's where these 5 axes of evils come from, right? And if you go back to the White Citizens Council and we go a little prior to that, we'll understand the roots of this axis to evil analogy that we're putting up. But the 5 areas that we're under attack right now, and it has put Jackson in a state of emergency, are water. Right now, we've gone from having autonomy. Let's just slow it down and let's just be real. We've gone from being over our own water with a black mayor, with an all-black, mostly black city council, right? To having nearly $1 billion to fix it with a third-party manager, to our mayor, still a black mayor, telling us that our best bet with $1 billion, nearly $850 million still left over, or $750 million still left over, our mayor said our best bet was to give up to the Water Authority because they'll take the $200 million in debt. Ooh, so you still have the income that's coming in on the water, and you have $750 million sitting there. If anything, why don't you talk to the people that are hurting and that don't have clean water before you give the water away? And then you say the reason we should give our water away is because we're going to be able to shift $200 million in debt. So we're going to give away that $750 million, essentially, plus all of the income from it with the new increase the city council didn't stop, plus the water system itself as data centers loom over us using 35 million gallons of water per day at minimums with large ones. This is what we're doing. And that's what this current mayor told us to do. Then he said we'll have control over it. And then what happened? No control. His friends across the aisle played a slick one on John. Now we have no control over our water. Airport. Right now we are mired. Day 4, if I'm correct, right, young man? Of the airport. We're going to talk about that because that's when the young man was saying that all of a sudden John Horn and Vernon Hartley are turning into Malcolm X and Maya Angelou. That's Hartley. So you see them in court have the nerve to try to, and it's just. Let's keep going. Let's talk about the 5 axes. Let's not get deep in anything. So you got your airport, you got your schools. We've had 17 schools shut down, and you're talking about a huge problem with what's happening with old buildings and former PWIs in schools like Redeemer Church that want to be PWIs, and that's not an attack. They're the ones that voluntarily entered into MAIS, the Mississippi Association of Independent Schools, that was initially created as a school system to avoid segregation, right? So Redeemer School proactively reached out to MAIS and said, we don't want to be with these Negroes in JPS. Yeah, we can have our own school because it's private, right? We can have our own campus, our own safety, our own beauty. But it's not the same if we're not playing with the kids in Madison and, in the PWIs, the real ones. This is what Redeemer said. Right on North Side, this is what they said. It's not this, we want to be part of MAIS. Where Pillow Academy, where they didn't let the black sportscaster come that was working with Jackson Academy. They wouldn't let him come there. These are the type of schools that are in this atmosphere Jackson Academy that got kicked out of the church land when they were trying to go to school there because they had a rule not letting black people come in when the floods came 30, 40, 50 years ago. Pillow Academy. So you have a lot of schools in there with nasty passes. And I love schools trying to do better now. We'll wait for the proof on that. But nasty passes, right? Someone gets out of jail after molesting for 17 times. They got 30 years. After them 30 years, you don't welcome them back into the daycare. You as a child molester, after 30 years, you paid your debt to society. We witnessed Mississippi on paper. We have rights that we didn't have before, and I know we can exercise those rights. I'm not a fool. But that doesn't mean we're not going to watch you when it comes to certain things. So you saw the school system shut down, 17 schools. You saw the violence that ensued from that. Now, at that time, under the previous administration, as under other administrations to a degree, when these schools broke down, you started seeing the strong arms of Mississippi. Look them up if you don't know who they are. Follow this point, but you need to know who they are. You saw the Operation Good. Look up groups stopping shooting from happening in violence. It wasn't the police. It wasn't the law. Look up groups that came after them, like Living with Purpose. Look at the move they're making and the young people and what they were doing before they're involved with these groups. Look up those groups and understand that before, when these schools were getting pushed together, when violence was falling out, you had people and other street interventors and violence interrupters, that came from these same communities they once caused harm in. The strong arm model. Rebuilding the communities we once caused harm in. But these are models that were stopping violence and turning our communities into our own business improvement district. Because John Horn's giving it all to Fondren, Belhaven, Midtown, North Jackson, aka LaFleur. We build our own paradise. The only way that we are able to do that is by that coming together. So you have people in our community where we think we have pluses. I'm sure people look on the Mississippi Charter School Authorizer Board and say, well, we've got an African-American woman on there and a young African-American man. The African-American woman, Candace Robbins from Redeemer Church. Well, we've got someone that's looking out for the black kids in Jackson. That's the natural feel you get, especially from outside of Mississippi. That's progress. Look at Ross Adams over there. Man, he's going to be like, can you please leave me alone? You got Ross Adams with WAPT. You got a black news. Looks like progress if you're coming from New York City. It looks like progress. Till you find out Ross ain't been letting black stories, or somehow, whether it's Ross or WAPT, stories where black folks say this is our side and we want it told, a lot of them haven't gotten out. And that's by the people that I gave Ross the interview is what they tell us, right? And it never aired. We put it on our webpage. We just didn't have a lot of white folks that said that. And we have everyone on our page. This was something that came from that. So, okay, it looks like one thing. You got Candace Robbins on this. She went to HBCU. This looks like we're in there. Then you start watching the meetings and realize that she's simply co-signing for the Republican far right. And that's where the rest of the white women on there pushing her from. That's where their family, that's where their bases are from, the far right Republican. You see her simply there to co-sign. Listen, this is not a shot. We watched 60 meetings probably, and I'm exaggerating a bit, but a lot of meetings, waiting just to see her stance. And what we want to see, sister, is what you're stepping up on, right? When are you stepping up and saying that when it comes, are you at least there for black charter schools, and making sure that they're getting a fair shake? And we're not seeing any evidence outside of the Redeemer School. We saw no evidence. So stop saying having a black person in that position gives us a plus.
Exactly.
That's what we're saying, because I'm long-winded. Stop saying that but simply having a black person in that position gives us a plus up. If we've got Ross Adams that only wants to run what he or WAPT wants to run when it comes to the black experience. And these were going back to Henry Kursky times and Harvey Johnson times, right? Then you've got Candace Robbins that's on the Mississippi Charter Authorizer, appointed by Governor Tate. So you would think it's progress from the outside. Oh, they push someone like Governor Tate to hire somebody from the black community. Well, it's complicated, America. It's complicated. Because if you go look at Redeemer Church, where Candace is at and where she follows, Grant Callen?
Yeah.
Her ruling elder at the church. He's the founder and leader of,
Mississippi.
Empower Mississippi. If you don't know who that is, and look it up and just go look everywhere, he's a sweetheart of Super Talk and of Jackson Jambalaya. That should say enough. The Jackson Jambalaya part, of course. But He has been one of the biggest proponents of vouchers, of school choice vouchers, to the point that it has been hurtful to public school systems. And there is no line on which people that are for the public school system have not said that he's been hurtful. And that's who's a ruling elder at a school that all of a sudden begs to be part of Mississippi Association of Independent Schools. Make it make sense, Jackson. Did we really have representation? Or did Grant Callen and Redeemer Church have representation to become part of the private white institution structure? That's what we run into. So that's your school system. It's not over, unfortunately. Now you got, and I'll save that for last. What did I miss before data centers? Because we've got to end with that. We said water. We said schools. Fire department. We've got a fire department in crisis. This is state of emergency. Every day we're going to talk about it. When former fire chiefs are coming on discussing it, and when we see this spilling out in the community and in deaths and in property damage, you got a fire department whose ISO or insurance rating has plummeted. And we don't know if that's going to stop. You've got a captain that's been promoted 4 spots up to fire chief with no experience, refused to take the fire chief test when the former chief asked him to. So we don't know what experience book-wise is even going into this, but we know the man was only over 2 to 3 people before. So experience-wise, there's no way he's able to provide the same thing that an equivalent chief would provide 4 spots ahead of him. Our insurance rates plummeting. Former Chief Willie Owens came on the show and told us it would plummet, and it did. Told us Mayor Horn asked former Fire Chief Willie Owens, one of his former 100 black men, we call them 99 black young men now because they got to work their way back up here in Jackson, right? Based off of what they've done now. It doesn't matter what you were formed as. When you got this much hurt sitting in your organization, meaning you got this many people in your organization leading us into a burning building. You got crew that marching on with signs, and it was him or Gibbs that said, give up our water, give up our water. We want the water authority. Now everybody's disappearing now that we have no power, and there's nothing, no more talk about our $200 million debt getting paid. Where are them cardboard signs? Because we still have ours, right? Yeah. Because we marched before. Proud of our side. What do people call us? Poverty pimps and free to land people and all types of insults. As you said, don't tread on these people's rights. Whether it's Poor People's Campaign, whether it's People's Assembly, whether it's Mississippi Rapid Response, whether it's NAACP, whether it's Mississippi Moves, whether it's One Voice, it didn't matter what, whether it's Southern Poverty Leadership, it doesn't matter who it was. You talked about all those groups when they would march, right? And then when it came down to giving our water system over to some white Republicans, this leadership, Horn, Crude Up, Gibbs, they marched around with signs that said, give them the water. Them same cardboard signs they clowned us for when we said, stop, HB 1020 is creating a new city within a city. And what do we have now? 2 cities, 1 Jackson. When we screamed HB 1020 is electing new judges in the place of where we democratically elected judges. Oh, they're protesting too much. These folks allowed, and I'm talking about our senators, our legislators, our mayor, our current mayor, let every law pass. They passed a law that said no protesting, yet you need a permit now. Your actual leaders sat quietly, I don't care if they said a word or two. They did nothing. They put up no fight. They made no threats. And we're not protesting anyways. Somebody should have locked Gibbs or whoever that was in John's administration with that sign. Can we go retroactively and get charges pressed on him for marching around City Hall with that sign? Because I thought you were supposed to have a permit before you put up a sign and march around. We over here obeying the law, and Horn's administration is in there marching around city halls with signs, talking about something, give these good white men our water. Just don't make any sense. And what else was he saying? Go look at who the water authority is. We don't have any representation. Now, before we wind down, is there anything else before we hit the data centers? We've talked about our school system, our fire department, our water authority, our airport, which again, day 4 of testimonies happening there. We'll touch on that. Our airport, no, data centers. That's number 5. Yeah. So this is the state of emergency. And number 5 are data centers. Maybe a month ago, Council President Bryant, what types of games you playing? How's it going down? Grizel came out and said, we need a moratorium. Great move at that time. A 183-day moratorium that would just suspend any data center activity until we as a community understand what's happening. The young man and I, a lot of other people, a lot of other organizations, right, came out and said, stop this. He was like, they're violent. This is Brian. What type of games are playing? How's it going down? Grizel, right? He comes out with a resolution from city council. We don't need violence. And he knows very well there was no violence. We've been over that over and over again. Ross Adams, this is why we keep shouting him out because we're not journalists. he does an interview where we clear up any violence talks. He decides not to air it. Thankfully, our cameras were rolling, right? We've got a real shindig going here, even though they think we're just men with phones. So we had a whole camera rolling, and then the whole community got to see anyways that there was no violence discussed. But this is what Brian Grizzell did after he pointed at LaShia Brown Thomas during a city council hearing, close to tears, and said, the whole community sees who did it. Yeah, we see. And as soon as we did something, you told us that someone hit you. We came to fight for you. And he told the teacher on us. He's like, look, they fighting. Brian, you told us to come get that they was bothering you. What in the name? That's why I call them what type of games are being played. Yeah. How's it going down?
I look at it like a lot of people say it's not about the money, but I feel like as the revenue is shrinking in Jackson, they trying to scramble for anything they can reach to get some money put back in the city. But when the money gets, like for his data centers example, like what we talking about, when we do build a data center in Jackson, their money is going to be pulled to the city of Jackson, and their budget is going to be also controlled by city council. And I'm pretty sure that's a part of their payout too, right? The money that's pulled back.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a lot of that money, and it's over. Well, I think it's going to be over 60 data centers in Mississippi. And 6 in Jackson.
They were talking 6 just in Jackson alone.
6 Jackson alone.
Yeah, just in Jackson alone. Yeah. So that's a big problem, and a lot of that money, when you're talking about money coming back into some of these places, a lot of that money is going to flow into communities that are not used to having that money. And when it does flow into those communities, they're going to be very blinded as to what's happening in the atmosphere, with the environment, the side effects of these data centers. Because once the data centers are in, the money's going to be plush. And you have to imagine or try to understand, what could it have taken? That's right. This is right. You know how people say this is wrong? What did it take for LaShia Brown Thomas to remove a moratorium in 2026? Along with Kevin Parkinson, she didn't do it herself. She certainly introduced removing it. You've got to put your name behind something. You're known as the person that said it's okay for us to smack children in the face. Well, we don't remember this. So someone had to introduce it, and LaShia Brown Thomas introduced it. Now, what could have made her? Let's really sit on this, America. Especially now you're missed. My brother in California, I know you don't do as much Facebook, but I hope you're watching this. Our brothers over there in Canada, in New Jersey. What would make a Black city council person in the South, with the regulations, the energy regulations, the federal oversight, everything is at the least? Even if you had Public Service Commission watching, it's not the same Public Service Commission oversight residents may get in a different state. But this SB 2001 tied Public Service Commissioners' hands, so they can't even provide the oversight. So you have to understand, LaShia Brown Thomas, Vernon Hartley, and the rest of them that did it, we're going to focus on these two in our community. They knew SB 2001 was passed because Horn signed it, their mayor. Again, SB 2001 said the PSC don't have the same oversight. So LaShia and Vernon, you all knew that we had no protection once these data centers got in. The most protection you're going to talk about is some regulations. So what happens when you violate regulations?
Wait, say that again.
What happens to the big companies when they violate regulations? Generally, they have to do what?
Tell us.
No,
they don't gotta tell us.
They got to pay a fine.
Yeah.
I said it like you were actually in my head. They have to pay a fine. So that's the violation of regulations, is that you pay a fine. So what did City Council say in that article that just came out? They said, we're not moving forward without... Now, what did we say as a community? We don't want data centers. On the 27th of May, you showed up in fullness, and you said, we do not want data centers. We want that moratorium back, or we want there to be no data centers at all, right? So when the City Council says, well, we're going to have 3 quick meetings. They had a meeting about the Forest Avenue rezoning. The City Council called one at Jackson State. Then they had another one on the 22nd, this Monday. 3 very quick meetings. Why do they have those quick meetings, do we believe? We believe they had those quick meetings because it says if you are going to rezone towards something like a data center, you have to have 3 to 5 public meetings where the public gets to discuss their opinion. Did any of them ever say that to you? The sneakiness, if that's it. I know it is. The sneakiness. And remember how each one of those meetings they presented to you. First off, the one at JSU was convincing you to accept data centers. We were there. This is what they never told you. This is a mandatory planning meeting that the city council is supposed to hold before we rezone. But guess what? On the back end, they're going to say, well, we told them it was time for their comments to come out. Well, you had people that might have taken their last vacation day had they known that this was their last chance to speak. You had people that might have gone ahead and used their last $100 to pay for a babysitter if they knew this was their last. They have babies. Data centers have the power to kill people. Tort reform that this data signed means the most you can get is $500,000 if they do something horrendous to your child. You think people wouldn't take a day off work to come? But you didn't tell them that. I know you're looking at something that goes right along with it.
I think it threw me out.
I'm sorry, that was fly attacked me. You know how you let a fly in? I can't be mad at We Believe because he came in with us. He was outside looking for a way in, but I think we covered all five though.
No, I was going to say, isn't that connected to HB 2001? That's what I was going to ask. Like,
yes, yeah, absolutely. It's
SB 2001.
SB 2001, hand in hand. SB 2001, which is a law. We're going to pull that up and read to you. And this was a law, SB 2001, which gave data centers the right, like Gabriel Prado is doing, where he says, I don't have to tell you where I'm putting the data center, which gave them the right to have these tax exemptions, to have these power exemptions. They gave them the right to not have PSC involved. That stripped our protection. And you'll be amazed that when you hear all of your politicians from the African-American representation standpoint that signed it. We'll pull it up at a certain point, but you'll be surprised when you see who signed it. It was every single politician that we've elected. And we'll pull it up and share with you, but every single politician signed it. Now, once the tort reform happened, which now says it limited, and the tort reform limited damages that can come from this to $500,000. I know they said $1 million and $500,000. That's if you prove that this came from that. Look at the setup that our leaders have walked us into. At least the rest in peace, Dr. King, recognized and tried to change direction. You can honor a man of that nature. Our leaders are putting on tinted black sunglasses and moving through the fire, getting burnt all on their arms. Remember when Hennepin showed up to City Hall? Well, I'll never forget that. And all the black leaders sat by while he said black people just are lazy. That's the problem. They're shifty. They don't like to pay their bills. He didn't say the lazy part. I'm inferring what we took it as a community, and our leaders just sat there and there. Horn, Crudup, Gibbs, Terwoosen, Grizel, Stokes, Hartley, they just sat there and looked down. Yes, sir. And that's what happened because everything after that was yes, sir. Give us your water. All of it. Yes, sir. This isn't making fun of someone. This is what our leaders did. And now they expect the people to pretend they didn't do it and give them some type of respect when we have nothing left. Nothing has come to West or South Jackson yet at all from the Jackson Rising is supposed to be jumping out there and helping. And every time they talk about it, it amazes me because they've never engaged. I just talked to the gentleman from Operation Good, and you look up Operation Good, violence that they've stopped in the city and what their background looks like, right? So these are folks that you could call if you see two young men arguing and a rifle comes out, and there's a chance that their knowledge of their own community can help them diffuse the situation. You know, when the police come, someone's getting shot. Them bullets are still flying in your neighborhood. You still have just a higher risk of getting hit when the police come. When Capitol come, that chance increases because they're shooting innocent people. That's on you, Capitol, for doing that. Jalen Lewis, rest in peace. Plenty of others you shot that were doing nothing. So now the police come, my neighborhood doesn't get safer. We can already see them chasing people through high-speed crashes. My neighborhood doesn't become safer in that instance at all. So it's just we're not going to diff off into it. And I want to read the names. Go ahead and read the names of the people because we need to understand this isn't being done from outside the house. Yes, the rebels, the proud knights are standing outside of the city of Jackson right now, fully footed on horses, using the same tactics that Ashby Foote used when he called the new police chief too charming and overqualified to get a mere $150,000. Now, whether or not she should get that or whether or not Jackson has it to give it to her are two different things. Whether she's qualified, coming from Charlottesville, Virginia, being over a police force of that magnitude and doing the things she had to do to get rid of a racist police force, which we wondering what's waiting now. We know eventually she's going to see what's happening. But of that, to say she doesn't deserve $150,000, I know sales reps supervisors that make $150,000 with benefits because she's too charming. This is what Ashby Foote said. Old Foote I don't know if he's from the Foote plantations. There were a lot of Foote plantations. He's a Confederate sympathizer, and everyone in his family, for the most part, went to West Point, which is where he went. But old Foote said, let me reach in my bag of racial anecdotes. I mean, back in the day, if you had the nerve to leave Mississippi and get educated and came back with that education, you certainly weren't going to be a teacher or a pharmacist with your black self here in Mississippi just because New York or Chicago let you get the degree. I know you didn't think that. And furthermore, now you let us know that you're an uppity nigger. Uppity nigger is what they would say then. Now that we know you an uppity nigger, now we're going to make sure when you finally get broken, you go through all parts of Mississippi hoping someone would give you a job as a pharmacist or a teacher, and you realize it's not going to happen. Now you come back and say, you know what, boss, man, let me just go ahead and get a job in this milk factory. Oh, no, you're overqualified for that, Sally. And this is what Ashby Foote said. That doesn't come from anywhere in Mississippi except a racial bag full of ways to hold. And that's the dirt. I'd rather you joke about my lips or my nose than do that, because that's a reference to when you starved us based on being too uppity or based on having the audacity of going out and doing for ourselves. So we're going to start connecting this on the second half of how a lot of these steps led to a lot of disaster, but we're coming together to fight back on the second half of this. Make it make sense, Jackson.
Great day to be working with the We Believe Digital Network. Hey, what's going on? How you doing? I wasn't expecting you to be here yet, but since you're here, hey, welcome to the We Believe Digital Network, where we make your dreams come true. We have a podcast station and a radio station that I'm about to show you. Come on inside. Okay, so now that you're inside, let me take you into the room where we make all the magic happen, right here in the We Believe Digital podcast and radio station studio itself. All right, then, y'all ready? Let's go.
That's what I'm talking
Hey, welcome to the behind the scenes room of the We Believe Digital podcast, where all the podcast and engineering happens when we make all the magic happen. I am your engineer, head engineer, JB. How you doing? Hope all is well. Currently right now at the We Believe Digital Network, we have a deal going on for $99 an hour studio sessions. So don't miss out on this opportunity. Let us know if you want it. And reach out to your team and we'll build your dream. Have a good one. Oh, come on in. Hey, welcome to the behind the scenes of the We Believe Digital radio station, where everything We Believe Digital radio takes place. I am currently mixing and mastering a playlist for the radio station. Speaking of that, if you have any suggestions or even your own songs or podcasts or talk shows that you might want to be featured right here on the radio station, you can email us at webelieveplatforms@gmail.com. Get y'all with us. Hey, feel like your voice needs to be heard? Ever wanted to be on your own podcast or even be a part of one? Guess what? You now can right here at the We Believe Digital Network, but we'll make it happen. You can catch us at this email, at this location, and this phone number.
SocratesGarrettENT.com is a diversified firm specializing in recycled aggregates and crushed concrete. SocratesGarrettENT.com's recycled materials provide the construction industry with significant economic and environmental benefits by recycling clean concrete rubble into MDOT grade rock materials. Recycled aggregates and crushed concrete can be applied to driveways, road construction, bank protection, parking lots, general bulk fills, and more. By using SocratesGarrettENT.com's crushed concrete products, anyone from homeowners to general contractors can help reduce landfilled concrete waste, conserve natural resources, and gain significant economic savings on materials and disposal costs. For more information, please call 601-896-0084 or visit us online at SocratesGarrettENT.com.
Welcome back to Make It Make Sense Jackson. I am your co-host. I said back. You know my mind.
Because I wasn't next to you. Welcome back. You did it twice, one for you and one for me.
Man, you know my mind is all over the place. Welcome back to Make It Make Sense Jackson. From that commercial break, I am your co-host Keanu Perry, along with my host
Tariq Abdul-Tawwab.
And as we discussed before the commercial break, during the commercial break, we was going to talk about. No, it was before the commercial break. We was going to discuss about how we was going to mention some of the people that voted for SB 2001 in the 2024 special session.
Remember, that's the debilitating legislation that caused a lot of what we're experiencing with data centers to happen, giving them the tax breaks, the power allotments, the secrecy where they didn't have to share certain things with the community, as well as the lack of PSC oversight, Public Service Commission oversight, that makes it very hard for us to have any protections with the incoming data centers.
Right. So the names being Juan Barnett, Juan, Juan Barnett.
Juan Barnett, yeah. Oh, it's gonna be Juan.
No matter.
Not at all. Y'all know who we talking about. You know who he is. In this case, it doesn't matter. You shouldn't have voted for him, Mr. Barnett.
Bradford Blackman, Gary Brumfield, Albert Butler, Hillman Frazier. That name sounds familiar.
Hillman, after that Cindy Hyde Smith portrait, you just striking out now. And this is really.
Derek Simmons.
I'm disappointed.
Joseph Thomas, Rod Hickman, and the finale, the ultimate John Horn.
We knew he was gonna be in there.
You know he was gonna be in there. Mr. 100 Black Man himself.
Yeah, we knew it.
Reginald Jackson, David Jordan, Solly Norwood, Sarita.
Solly's on this team too. Solly's on John's team too. Good God, man, where y'all go? Y'all locked up together when y'all was young? Y'all used to run numbers or something? My goodness. Crewed up Gibbs, John, Kane, the whole man. What was it? Kane, the boss of it all.
Friends across the aisle.
Who else? Let's not finish. Sarita
Simmons, and then Angela Turner Ford. Yeah,
Sarita Simmons. Yeah. This is crazy. It's like a whole gang of them, man. Just a whole gang of them. But yes, let's stay on. Let's stay on task. And that actually, these are the folks that voted for SB 2001. You know, and you got to sit on that for a moment, because you have to realize that all in the name of this is some crackhead stuff. All in the name of some investment we hope we'll get, but have absolutely no guarantee we're going to get. And I bet you this economic investment, so you got Hartley, who got to test us? You know, we always take the right road, you know. So you got Hartley, you got in picture this, you all. You got Stokes, you got Grizel, you got Lashia. We got to imagine Lashia's just laying back like, tell me what you got for me, because she's the one that removed the moratorium. So she's looking forward to this conversation. Kevin's like, good job, Lashia. I'm sorry. Good job, Lashia. He only whispers to her, go watch the meetings. We don't do underhanded shots. We talk about what actually happens. If you see someone whispering at work too much and it's two people to say, you're going to be like, well, why are y'all whispering every day? Every time Lashia is in there and there seems to be any action, Lashia Brown Thomas, it's Kevin Parkinson whispering in her ear. I mean, what are you all talking? You didn't whisper in, Virgie didn't whisper in Banks here like that. Nowhere near that amount of time. Her curls weren't falling in the Banks' face. Come here, Banks. Lean over. Sprays down for the Newports first now. That wasn't happening. So what is this relationship that we're seeing where you can't speak without Kevin telling you what to say? That's how it seems to us. We don't have to do the stupid stuff like pretend it's not what it is. Go talk to a politician that has to do that, or a newspaper person. We just get to look and be like, yeah, you see her whispering every time? I see it. It happened. But how you gonna cease and desist? How you gonna cease and desist what's happening? I need to stop whispering to her, Kevin. And why are you whispering to her? Just explain to us. Well, we see it now.
Yeah,
we see it now. The same way we see them restricting access when we talk about these data centers. Look at the effort these folks are putting into stopping the public voice from coming out about these data centers. Let's look at that. Let's take a moment and we'll cut this up and we'll redo it. This is the moment, if you're looking at it, this is the moment. If you want to talk about data centers, don't go on vacation. Don't go talk to your family here. Don't go talk to your friends here about what's happening. This is the moment. If you don't want data centers in Jackson, Mississippi, you need to be 100% foot pedal to the metal, because they're removing everything.
And it's like they put in a moratorium in the perspective that a moratorium is bigger than what it is. It's just moratorium. Yes. It's 183 days.
Just hold on, man.
Just hold on. I mean, I don't understand what exactly y'all making yourselves look more guilty by not wanting a moratorium. What are y'all really hiding from us? That's the real question.
This is when the 16-year-old boyfriend goes from begging for sex, and now the after-school Degrassi High special is getting a little more sinister. Shit, man, we're gonna talk real. If you're up 70s, 80s babies, you know what I'm talking about. The music shifts because now the boyfriend's trying to take it, and that's where we at, Jackson. You got to understand that. If you don't understand where you're at, then once that violation happens, It's not something you can bounce back from. If cancer, if something, God forbid, starts spreading through our community, and all of a sudden you realize, man, I didn't listen to them Frida Lampitt, man. Okay, now I'm going to sue them for what they did to me. I elected judges. No, you didn't. Remember the Frida Lampitt people were telling you about HB 1020? That was giving judges that they wanted in there? You said we needed new judges. Jackson's messed up, fell right into their trap. Well, that's who some of these cases are going to go to. And God forbid it goes to Louisiana, East. You understand what we're saying? You in a fix. You allowed them and paid no attention to it. You got to understand that, as the young man always says.
So you referring to HB
1020 with Capitol Police, when they expanded, when they put their own judges in there, built up a whole new Capitol Police station right in the middle of downtown and used our resources to do it. If we're not getting ARPA money, if we're not getting our regular funds and they're getting funds from the state, then that's our funds, period. Then John Horn talks bad about CCID while he's a senator. The moment he gets in the office, he takes $2 million from them for his fire department. Where did that money go, by the way? We don't even have a wrench supposedly to open a painted shut fire hydrant. Where did the $2 million that John Horn bragged he got as soon as he came in here go? He go to the fire truck that burned up?
Seems to be a lot of money missing.
And it seems to be a big effort into stopping our voice from having a say-so in these data centers. So the community shows up on May 27th. Robert Island sneaks out the front door. I'm being funny, but he got out of there quick. There was no real journalist that asked him any questions. Make It Make Sense did. But you know what they say about us, right? Make It Make Sense, Jackson. You'll look on our page. We left it up. We don't take things down.
We violent.
Yeah, we were violent, but the whole thing is up live. And we saw who was violent as we started getting pushed around inside City Hall when we tried to go inside.
City Hall,
JSU, every week. Yeah. Yes. That's the funny thing. At City Hall, Fire Marshal Elliott blocks the door. Folks get physical with us. At JSU, a woman runs up and puts her breast on KP's shoulder and says, "Stop talking about LaShia Brown Thomas. That's my sister." Tried to grab my hand and pull me in for one of them okey doke moves. This is JSU, and she looked like she was supposed to be at JSU. I guess the John Horn and team thought that's where their hitmen were. Like, for some reason, we didn't have good people at JSU, too. It's an HBCU. Everybody's not for that garbage. They just didn't know a lot of them. They just didn't know. But this is what you did. So you lined it up and tried to trick us every step of the way. And I'm going to say that right here. Let's talk about the few steps. And our page, you can listen to this, go to work, cook dinner. When you have time later, you can go to our page and all the proof is on Make It Make Sense Jackson, right? So first, you call for a moratorium. We get the community together, not we, just us two. We, a community, we all get together. We come out in strength and say we don't want it. Robert Island sees this. He's representing Sexum. Robert Island, also one of John Horn's buddies. You see how this is starting to shape out? He talked about Gibbs and Crudup and all the folks that were there that could have done something. But it's not just them. Solly Norwood signed SB 2001 along with John. All of the bad actors in Jackson or surrounding are starting to run together. They're starting to run together, and we're starting to see it. When Gabriel Prado feels comfortable, the nerve of him, wide face, the nerve of him to feel comfortable reaching through black networks and saying, man, somebody asked him, because he couldn't say, tell him. He ain't got that type of power. Not amongst the real black folks in the city. Not amongst the rest of us. That's where we go. Not amongst the rest of us. You ain't got that power to ask them to do nothing. So you go to other interests and beg them, can you please ask him to be quiet? Is my money long enough? I would smack him with that dollar if he came directly to me with that. I've given, as nobody, a lot of us have. So that's what so then you try to quiet us down. That doesn't work. This is before that. LaShia pulls the moratorium. She pulls the moratorium immediately. Sexton tries to rush into court and set up their data center on Forest Avenue. Immediately. Why didn't you pull that moratorium before we said, no, we're not going to hush up about it? You can pretend it's not making make sense, Jackson, in our community. But when we can hit 40,000 and all, at least 10,000 of them are strong people that are ready and waiting at all times. Not just, I'll take that the other 30,000 are just interested in a good story. You got 10,000 that want some change right here in Mississippi. So now you have a different type of move. So we show up, we tell them no. Robert Sexton, who's also on John Horn's team, he was on his housing task team before he recused himself and said, I can't help the people at Forest Avenue. who were getting kicked out. Mind you, this is Robert Ireland. The people were getting kicked out because the landlord didn't pay the bill. And Robert Ireland said that's a conflict of interest. JSU, Tougaloo, Alcorn State, Valley State. Where's our political side? Where's our historians watching this happen so you can write about it later? Even if you don't want to say anything, are you documenting what's happening? What could potentially be? Do you teach them about at these schools, all 4 schools I just mentioned? And then the students, I know I see y'all on there because we look at who's on there. Do they teach you all about gentrification, slumlords, the way the system was set up? So why aren't they able to say red flag? Why would Robert Ireland say it's a conflict of interest to help Black folks in the city? Well, John, first off, why did you bring him on your housing task team? Oh, were you trying to get this Sexum deal set up? That's all we're left to assume. Because John Horn worked or was the chair of the Housing and Urban Development Task Force for years and sat on the PEER review committee. They oversaw slumlords. They oversaw Mississippi Housing Corporation, Sean Spivey, who gave all the money to the slumlords. Some of those same slumlords, like Chip Triplett with Parks Companies, who gave campaign money to John Horn. Make it make sense. Slumlords give campaign money to John Horn as a senator. Then as a mayor, he doesn't do nothing as they sit up there and make their residents leave because of nothing that they did. Don't put any money towards any of the apartment. We know why they're not doing anything. Chip Triplett, ask him why they're not getting anything done to them. I mean, if he could give money to John Horn, if he can work for Parks Companies, if Parks Companies had any success with apartment complexes throughout Mississippi when John was a senator, now they're having success here and John is a mayor. These are great relationships. Ask Gabriel Prado. John's a great friend to have if you're not Black. Hey, I didn't say it. The evidence did. Gibbs said, I'm out of here after a few months. This Negro's not giving me nothing. He didn't tell me Prado was even going to be here. Told him he met that. He told me they played tennis and Prado was teaching him how to play. I didn't know Prado was running anything. Prado getting it all, man. He in there balling, boy, with his hat on backwards like this. Think about it. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, you're right. And we ain't heard from Serena Sin in a while.
Where's he getting them hotels built up? He's got to be getting them hotels built up because it's too many of his stores getting sold to Gabriel Prado's family. It's too many Don Gabriel stores taking over with Surinder Singh because Surinder Singh was president. Oh, I'm sorry. He's another one of John's buddies. Man, I wish you would keep walking through Jackson talking about, you know what this brother said to me in the grocery store? Brother, I love you. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And I don't say your name, but it was an older brother. And it was a young sister. I know she's not watching. But she was watching, and the brother was like, John Horn is a good man. I want to believe it. And he said the last part out loud. He tried to stop himself. And I said, I know you want to believe it, sir. I know you want to believe it. God takes care of babies and fools, so maybe he's a fool. And maybe that's why the man's living into long age. And I'm saying that with the most decency and respect I can possibly say. But at a certain point, if a young man is going to hold his gun and shoot it across the street with bullets flying everywhere, and the first thing you all want to say is who raised him, we got to keep banging at this hit of who raised John. But not to skip over the fire department. I know you all thought this was done. But let's talk about how much they don't want us to come in there. So look at the city council meeting. And a lot of people, and let me tell you something. It takes a lot on this young man and I's part to put ourselves out there, to just talk to you all on lives. I don't think anyone loves the way I look on the live. I certainly don't, right? But it takes a lot, right? It's much different talking on the radio and giving information. I'm very comfortable doing that, right? But I do those things because too many things get caught in real time in Jackson. And so if I have to go through the discomfort of looking at myself again and watching how I look when I'm going through these things, if no one else is going to do it, then I'm going to continue to do it. He's going to continue to do it. Y'all are going to continue to do it. In the moment someone steps up and like, hold on, Tariq, let me say it. Watch what happens. I'm going to get some good rest, just like you will, just like he will, just like all of those individual people fighting are. But we go into City Hall, as soon as we come in, there's a problem with us being allowed into the room. And I'm talking about us as in anyone in the hallway, it seems. But other people started walking into the room. When we try to walk into the room, immediately it's a stop. And this is important because if 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 people look at your news story as a way of understanding what happened there, because WAPT doesn't want to run the full story, that's a problem for you not to be allowed in there with your audience on there. And I understand Elliot, he's the fire marshal? Someone said his Debo is about to come out. I'm looking at the thing. I understand, I understand.
They said he Debo?
Yeah, no, not at all. Not at all. No, they said other things. The folks that do know him from the city said, no, I think he needed some chocolate milk. But we preach nonviolence. That's the first thing, right? So when you put your hands on one of us, you bowl us or something. First off, we're not that sensitive. Please understand. The biggest thing about that, and I'm gonna keep saying it. And you saw on our show, Fox called into the show, and these newspaper called in. Man, get out of here. You didn't report the story. Please don't hop on our story and then re-report our story, then call us and ask us for some comments on our own story. Why would we comment to you on our story? Tell me what type of sense that makes. They called into our radio show. Do you have any comment on what happened with the fire? Negro, do you know we ran the story? What are you talking about? We ain't got no comment on our story. Hey, come here. Do you want Nikes? Because you got some Nikes on. They're mine. It's already our story, dummy. And I'm not calling them a dummy. I'm just saying it's a George, what's in my heart, Ellen, you big dummy thing. But yeah, so you saw them jump on, and 2 stations called in, if I believe, and tried to jump on the air with us because for some reason they find it too hard to contact us and just go to all the places we are.
And no, don't be mistaken. We know what y'all trying to do. We know y'all trying to turn. Y'all found the way to finally get some constructive criticism going for the fire department. Y'all want to use us as the scapegoats, right?
Oh, well, I mean, what the young man's talking about, I don't think any of them think they're right enough to do that. And if they do, that's a plus. Give me an opponent that thinks he's better. I love that. But I think that you're right onto something. And what the young man's talking about is you see folks that just are getting giddy because they see a portion of the city under duress. A city that's 83% black, a city with a black mayor, a city with 5 black city council people. They want to say, look, that's evidence of black people not being able to lead. So you have folks that do that on the low, even to jump on our page and give us information. I'll always take your information. I'm a little bit shaky like that in a good way. For my people, I'll do some strain for some change in a good way. I don't even like that song reference.
Well, we will hold y'all accountable.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah.
We're going to hold you accountable.
You can jump on. We're going to take the information if you tell us something good, but we understand white supremacy, whether it's masked or not.
I understand that first.
So if you used to push out articles about Jackson's full of thugs and gangsters, let me tell you something. Jackson is not full of thugs and gangsters. If you used to repost articles about how bad Jackson is every day and help create this persona of how bad, because what that was doing to intelligent folks like us, and if you're on our platform, it could be 1,000 of y'all. We'll lose you, no problem. We're good with it. I promise, right? And we only got about 2,000, 3,000 followers. We're good. That's not even what we came for. But if you are one of these people that helped paint a picture of how bad this coat was, just so you could have people come in and buy it on a low, man, you must be crazy if you think we're in alliance with you. So if you were before talking about Jackson Fire Department and you were part of the fire department, if you were part of the fire department, and while you were in the city, you continue to post bad stuff about the city. Listen, I worked for Verizon. I would have got fired. This ain't about I can't be, but it's my right. I would have got fired. Let me be in Verizon talking about, hey, man, Comcast is looking good. Hello. What do you mean? I'm gone. Not even a question. You work for one of the essential employees of the city. You don't talk. What do they say? Why do white folks come into Jackson and don't do the same thing they do in Madison? In Madison, what is that thing when it's the ambulance, the fire department, they all together? What's that called? Not in Madison, but in a lot of the white communities you see, in a lot of the black police communities, you see this thin blue line where it covers the ambulance people. Boom, we come together like Voltron with the police and the fire department.
I'm not sure.
Okay, well, it's something where they all come together in solidarity. Why didn't that happen in the black community? Because for you to be a police officer, a firefighter, an ambulance driver, and to repost anything bad about the city that's happening, what is your purpose if you're not accompanying that with something good that's being done? You're hurting who you're working for. And see, some people are too ignorant to explain that to you, but I would love to have an employee that did that. Sit down and they cry to me. Well, I have the right to do whatever I want. Sit down. This is Nat Will State. Let me explain something to you, son. You're hurting. Did you verify that article to its entirety? Did you make sure that article had nothing that wasn't accurate? So you see now when we do our own article, we see WAPT often ran things that couldn't have been accurate if it didn't have if they were willing to ignore an interview they had that said there was no violence and just adequately explained that and gave a full interview. Even if you didn't want to replay it because I had an appointment to go to and had to say ta-ta, you could have wrote what I told you. So if WAPT in 2026 is willing to ignore that, come on. You must be crazy. So to KP's point, if you think that you can put on your veil of white supremacy, jump on white supremacist shows, podcasts, and then come up under our banner and be like, yeah, we told you about the fire department. We talking about local 1807, racist white folks right over there that sparred this whole plan, right along with other people that want this state fire department to be taken over from black folk. Don't forget local 1807. Don't forget where this whole thing started at. You can follow the trail with Rashawn and see why Elliot's so mad, but it ain't gonna lead back to a black community. Stop playing with us. We told you that with the data centers. When you made them foolish comments, well, I'm not with you all when you talk about other things, but I'm with you with the data centers. Excuse me, block. We don't want you. We good. If you're not with us when we talk about the quality of our children's life, if you're not with us when we talk about our schools not being shut down, if you're not with us when we say take your hands off our airport and off our water authority, we don't need you with us on Make It Make Sense Jackson platform.
At all.
Bye-bye. We ain't want you to know how, I promise you.
Peace.
No love lost. You're not used to this. You got somebody do anything for your views and for your like. We'll do anything for our audience, but our audience is the community. Any of the community wants to work to better everybody. For you, we'll do backflips, but we know what backflips you want. You just want ideas, solutions. How do we get out of this? You waiting for that petition to go out where we can get 2/3 of every ward's signature. And that's enough to push that council person off. If they let this data center in, we better do that, because why would you put a fire marshal at the door? Why you got Elliot at the door, blocking one door for certain people? You got a capacity of 90 that a former Jackson Fire Department, a former Jackson Fire Chief, both said that room was not over capacity. You know what? If you think about it, this is what they said. There were more firefighters in there when they were fighting for a pay raise. And these are firefighters crowding the room, so they would know whether that was over capacity or not. But Elliot, the fire marshal, signed it. Looked like it had fresh ink on it, didn't it? The certificate. It looked like they had just whipped that up. Make It Make Sense is coming. Get a capacity in that won't let them in. Taurus Tall, call him 1.5 people. No more people. 9 people went out. No more people. How does this capacity thing work? Now make it make sense. How does this capacity thing work? I thought capacity meant if it's 90 people, you got to have 8 come out for 8 to go in. We saw people streaming out. We didn't get invited in. None of the people in the hallway got invited in. And why? Because on May 27th, go look at what, now you all will not pretend you didn't see what's coming. Go look on May 27th and see what the newspaper headline said May 28th. It had white, black, Asian, all people that lived in Jackson down there at the planning center with, we don't want data centers. No, all parts of Fondren, Delhaven, Midtown, it was everywhere, right? Midtown was in there. What was that? The Worm, one of the businesses that have a lot of business in. You had all of the places. They weren't ready for that. Oh, this is what Robert Iverson from Sexum. LaShia, call it off. Let's wait till the next meeting. Hope they don't show up. Then someone within the planning department, maybe it was the lady in red, that keeps working with Fire Marshal Elliott. They was on the side of the building chuckling after they kept us out. Over there like the Smurf and what was it, Gargamel? They didn't get in here this time. And what did that newspaper headline look like after they had that meeting? What did that newspaper headline look like, if you remember? The first meeting, all you saw was people all through there. Am I right or wrong, KP? All you saw was people all in the meeting saying, we don't want data centers, right? Yeah. The second meeting, WAPT, WLBT, they all stood inside of the city council chambers. Fire Marshal Elliott made sure that the majority of the residents were outside of that room, and those TV stations never turned their camera around. So their investors, the state that wants these data centers in, especially Tate got a heart, he wants data centers today. They don't see the same resistance they saw on May 27th. That was their problem, Jackson. And work with me a few minutes here. We got 2 more things to address, but work with me on this here. You've got to understand why they didn't want us in that room. Because on May 27th, you had Natalie Speaks, who was in there bringing a lot of attention there. You saw, these are just facts. You saw Tina Clay engage her heavily. Let me work, and I'm going to tell you why. And this is no slight against anyone. Because Natalie was reaching the people. She is reaching the people. They're looking at what she has to say for things that matter. She brought HB 2001 up. Oh, she's doing too much talking. We got to get somebody. Can somebody try to? And that's when she started talking about the helpers, because Tina was presenting herself as a helper. Natalie was helping and is helping amazingly by herself, because she is giving that nobody's buying me, paying me, or has any other. I'm just going to give you the truth. Tina, Natalie, we've got to do this. Now, we're just talking about what we saw. We were at the meeting at Fresh Start. No one told me this. We got it on video. Everything we say, we run live. These are no collaborations with anyone out there. And as a matter of fact, I make a point to not speak to people before I speak. So I'm saying it. The young man saying it. We're saying that. So you think it's a coincidence that Tina Clay wanted to engage Natalie Speaks heavily because Natalie was speaking so much real stuff about what these data centers are going to do. So much heavy. Now we got to get her voice, just like they try to do Dr. King's March. You got to control that. And you tried it with us, Tina.
Yeah.
Let's just keep it a stack. You came on Make It Make Sense, Jackson. And I don't know that Tina knows when she's being used for ulterior motives. I don't know that. And I don't accuse what we don't know. We just talk about what you did. You came on Make It Make Sense, Jackson, and you said moratorium would have stopped all of this. And it still can be put up there, right? So why would we think that's off the table? If you say that, if a council person tells you a choice that can still be done right now by them can stop everything, and remember she said it would stop the rezoning. Well, Tina, why aren't y'all doing that? Now we come to talk about it, and Tina says we're not discussing moratoriums.
They don't even care enough. Now, I understand that we telling y'all why we need a moratorium and why they don't want to put it up there, but they don't even care enough to tell y'all, the city of Jackson, the people of Jackson, why they don't want to put the moratorium up there. I mean, it you know,
that's right.
For the people that don't necessarily watch the news, or some people that show up to the city council that's probably really elderly, that got to be walked around, you know, at some point you're gonna have to find a way to communicate to them too.
That's right.
And they don't understand having stuff y'all be saying.
And we've got to close out here, and we appreciate our platform, man. But to say to the young man's point, to call 3 rapid meetings, and this is why I talk about if political science departments at Jackson State University, at Tougaloo University, at Valley State University, and at Alcorn University are not the ones, and the civil rights struggle has always been backed, facilitated, fought from the standpoint of HBCUs. Nothing is different now, except the leadership at some of these places, okay? But the body, the students are still the same power and vigor that's there. We've got to find out why nobody with these skill sets, that's not our skill set. I have a GED. Yes, I work towards a higher education. And yes, this young man came off with a higher education, but neither of us are specialists in those areas. These are areas you all should be stepping forward and saying, why are they suppressing the people's voice? They called 3 rapid meetings. So I'll give it to you. So JSU, Alcorn, I see you all's students on here, your alumni. They'll forward it to you. You can't say you didn't know. Your political departments better get active, and we're going to close out. You have them, they had 3 rapid meetings that not one Jacksonian really understands is a planning or zoning meeting. They just think it's a meeting that JSU called. Some of them didn't even know the city really called it, even though it said it on there. The other meeting, you gave them the wrong date. This is disgusting. It said on the planning door, the meeting's on the 24th, and then they called it on the 22nd. And then the fire department then blocked half, if not 75% of the community from entering the hearing, where Brian Grizzell said, hey, kids, and we're going to land in this. Hey, kids, you need to use the bathroom? This is the last stop. And in that meeting, what we're saying, if you weren't there, was he said, if you have any questions as a community, this is it. We didn't understand what we did. Folks didn't understand what he was saying. Mm-hmm. That's why we call him Brian. What type of games are being played? How's it going down, Grizzell? Because the reason he told you better ask a question is because they then put it in the newspaper. The next day, the city council has held its final meeting. You've been hoodwinked. You've been bamboozled. It just happened in front of you. Jackson, 100,000 of you, you've just been given 3 mandatory planning meetings by their standards, even though it hasn't happened. And now they can let those data centers in. And all they're talking about now is regulations, fines. Jackson, Mississippi, 6 data centers are coming. Your city council has allowed it. And what they're telling you is we're going to make sure they pay a fine when they screw you over. You can't get more than $500,000 yourself. So you're just going to have to take that face burning or your child passing or your mother passing. But we'll make sure they pay $10,000 every time they're loud every day. And are you going to take that? So as we land this ship, you see your people floating across. You know who your council person is. LaShia Brown Thomas has had far too much political peace in Jackson, Mississippi. Her mailbox is far too empty. There's far too many people that have her cell phone number that have not filled that up time after time till she answers. I know John Horn doesn't answer anyone anymore. That's the people telling us that. But you better pressure Hartley and LaShia. We got Vincent. Which side you want to be on today, Grizzell? Right now has said no to tabling a moratorium. So he's voting the right way right now. We don't know how long that's going to last. Last time, his brother got pushed out, and he said, I'm taking my ball and going home. Vincent got pushed out, and then he didn't want to play with the citizens anymore. They're being violent. We don't need to stop data centers. Give my big brother back his job. And we ain't like the fact he got pushed out. But don't stop helping the rest of us because of that, Brian. What type of games is being played? How's it going down, Grizzell? So reach out to your 2 councilmen and say to them, we've got 2. We need 2. So that's what the data center is coming down to in Jackson, Mississippi. We have 2. Tina Clay and Brian Grizzell voted against tabling the moratorium. One of them can bring that vote back up. But we need Vernon Old Long Tube Socks Hartley to step up. And we need LaShia, a.k.a. Carolyn/Emmett Till, to stop calling young black men violent and to step up and reverse what she initiated. Put the moratorium back on the table. Tina Clay and Brian have said that they'll put it forward because they did it before. And if they switch up, they'll have to do it in front of you. We're putting it all on the table. Tina Clay and Brian Grizzell voted no on tabling the moratorium. They better stay there. And one of them needs to talk, and as a community, we'll decide when are you going to put it back on the table, tabling the moratorium. And then Vernon, Stokes, we done forgot about Big Twerk. Listen, Stokes better show up and vote against it. Technically, we have 5 black city councilmen. So all we need is for Tina or for Brian, what types of games is being played, how's it going down, to reintroduce the ordinance, moratorium for 183 days, and then we need all of our black council people to vote for it. I have no faith in Ward 7. Kevin Parkinson was preceded by Virgie Lindsay, was preceded by Margaret Barrett Simon, all of whom, the previous 2 have done unmeasurable damage to black autonomy in Jackson, Mississippi. And Kevin is doing the same thing. So pressure your council person, pressure your council person, pressure your council person. Shout out to We Believe Digital for my co-host.
Keanu Perry.
And myself, Tarek Abdul Tawab. Continue to make it make sense, Jackson. We love you and we're out.
I'm on the mental health and other people's issues and going around and take care of business like that.
I can see, man. You running, you driving around, you working, you at the work, man. Looking like you're working on something yourself.
Well, I'm getting things together. It's been rough.
Yeah.
Man, it's been rough,
And you got to rest. You got to
I'm
get
trying
on
to
that.
check
They got
into what
told.
y'all doing, and I ain't even realize they going through with it, Lord.
Man, they're almost done, man. They're almost done. I don't think a lot of people recognize they're almost done.
Yeah,
But
they
they're almost
already
Yeah.
got a lot going on in Clinton.
Yeah. They, I mean, and that's a wrap. And when I say they're almost done.